Today, we're going to peel back the layers of what's got the entire crypto industry buzzing. We're going to take a look inside of Trump's secret Bitcoin empire that he's building and some of the reasons why you simply cannot be bearish on what's going on right now, given the context of Trump's moves. Talking about a theory so wild, so spot on with what's happening here in 2025 that you simply can't ignore it. And what's happening right now is going to reshape what we know as geopolitics, finance, and power for the next century. Now it's time to wake up, because Trump isn't just bullish on Bitcoin, folks. He's architecting a shadow empire around it. Now we're going to break this down step by step. So make sure to hit that like, lock in, and let's get into it. All right, now let's start with the foundation. This theory kicks off with the strategic Bitcoin reserve. On the surface, it seemed like no big deal. Just a move from the government to consolidate seized Bitcoin and begin building out a massive Bitcoin treasury vault. But we must dig a little bit deeper, folks. This isn't just some housekeeping bill to add on and bolster up what's behind the US dollar. This is a power grab. And a lot of the verbiage of the Bitcoin Strategic Reserve Act actually lines up with the 1930s Gold Confiscation Act that the U.S. rolled out right before rolling to a gold-backed dollar after Bretton Woods. This administration has yankied Bitcoin from the edges of government and planted it smack dab in the center of executive control. And the insane part about this is that the Federal Reserve is being completely bypassed in the process. Now, the same folks that are handling these sanctions, sovereign wealth, and global asset plays now are calling the shots. This isn't treating Bitcoin like some meme coin or speculative asset. This is weaponizing the power of holding Bitcoin. Now, in a world of de-dollarization across the planet, BRICS constantly making attempts to rise, the U.S. is positioning Bitcoin just like oil, or in military terms, nukes, for backing the dollar with power of military might. All this is going on as Bitcoin is flowing into the Treasury vault and the DOJ's hands through seizures. But that's just pillar one of this grand scheme. Now you enter the Genius Act. And yes, they named it that for a reason. This legislation has carved out a safe zone, essentially for private dollar-pegged digital money. This is money that's literally settling on top of crypto networks that already exist, completely ditching the old school ways of banks and essentially plugging into the existing SWIFT system. Now, the timing of all this is absolutely perfect, right as the global financial order begins to crack and trust between nations is dwindled down to basically nothing. And now that these stablecoin rails are being built out within the United States, it's going to expand the US dollar to markets across the globe in a Trojan horse type manner. No more intermediaries, just fast cryptographic power bolstered by the US government and American tech firms. This is basically like upgrading from dial-up to fiber for Uncle Sam's control and the biggest export of the United States, which is the dollar. Now you take a look at some of the people behind the curtain pulling the strings. Pro-Bitcoin regulators are everywhere. Treasury, SEC, CFTC, even whispers of Hassett at the Federal Reserve leading up into 2026. This is a crypto dream team and setting up a really crazy potential for what this market can actually turn into over the course of the next few years. And then you add on top of this the US crypto and Bitcoin mining boom. US giants are scaling up protections, usually saved for defense contractors. But why are they doing this? You enter the software thesis. Proof of work isn't just some version of finance. This is cyber warfare and control 2.0. Hash rate is the new aircraft carrier. Electricity is the ultimate deterrent. And Bitcoin, the high ground in a digital arms race that's taking place across the globe. Now, when the US government brings up Bitcoin as an interest within national security, this is not just the states in the U.S. buying into Bitcoin. It's them making a move to control larger portions of hash rate, larger bags of Bitcoin, and most of the ecosystem of what stablecoins are as we know today. And right at the epicenter of all of this is the new rollout of World Liberty Financial, the Trump family's massive crypto undertaking that's billed as a crypto startup. But honestly, this sounds like some private intel hub in disguise doing a test bed of DeFi that's going to be rolled out at a nation state level. They launched USD1. This is their own stablecoin and the governance token for foreign whales that are gobbling it up. Gulf funds, European institutions, South American players are all pouring capital into this venture with Trump's family, the branded World Liberty Financial platform. Now you ask yourself why? Well, in my opinion, it's because World Liberty Financial's design mirrors the regulations of an administration that just rolled out. It's not random. This is synchronized movement. Foreign money flows in, tied to the US elevated rails, and ask yourself why the sudden interest if this is just some newbie stablecoin. The Trump family and Trump administration is bolstering its influence here. This is influence peddling on steroids from the Trump administration. And now you put this all together, all you see is a genius architecture for the perfect storm of crypto adoption and a move by force of the US government to ensure that the US dollar makes its way across the globe regardless of nation state trust through the realm of stablecoins. There are three tiers locked in here. The bottom layer being the mining infrastructure, massive US based proof of work operations fueled by American energy and shielded by politics. In the middle, you have the sovereign wealth strategy, the Treasury reserves, these new stablecoin rules, which, mind you, a lot of the language within the Genius Act actually makes it required to back the stablecoins by US Treasuries, aka US debt. They have the regulatory green light and blending Bitcoin into a national power tool. And at the very top, the dynasty World Liberty Financial with the USD1. This includes global partnerships, tokens within it, and a Trump monetization of the very system that the government's blessing has now been enshrined across the entire industry for. Each one of these tiers feeds the next. Hash rate bolsters the state and the commerce within it. The state lifts the rails and allows regulatory guidance. And then these rails supercharge World Liberty Financial and the USD1 stablecoin. Now, through this, we're going to see a lot of funneling of foreign wealth into the United States. This is a closed U.S. loop system that funnels massive amounts of financial power back to the U.S. and hardens into an unbreakable superpower structure. Subtle? Yes. Deniable? Absolutely. This is a decentralized network built to dodge choke points, but coordinated at the level of a high-end symphony. People say that Trump's just pro-Bitcoin and that World Liberty Financial is just some grift. The reserve is just symbolic, right? This is copium. This is sequential additions and restructuring of the U.S. financial system in real time. All these alignments and incentives have told me just that. Now, I'm playing the long game here in crypto and Bitcoin especially. And watching this parallel system being built out makes me that much more bullish, but also makes me remind you to hold your Bitcoin on a cold custody device. Half true, and the dots connect just in a similar manner. This is too big of a situation for me to ignore. We're witnessing an American Bitcoin empire being built before our eyes. Pillars of energy, the state, and the dynasty of World Liberty Financial and the Trump family have all synced to a proof of work future for what we know as finance. Now, we're going to continue to track all of these developments as they come out, but I am set up in a position to really, really benefit from how many years we've been looking at crypto and Bitcoin and watching the moves of the U.S. government. But I do implore you once again, remind you that in the 1930s, right before the U.S. moved to a gold standard, they confiscated Bitcoin. They confiscated gold. And this is why having your Bitcoin on a cold custody device is more important than ever. Make sure to smash the like. Let me know down in the comments, do you think that this is all a coincidence of the timing for the Trump administration, or is there something larger at play here? And I'll be seeing you on the next episode. Take care.